What's up, everybody? How are you? My name is Bill Forster. This is Real Talk Chronicles. And I got my guest panel with me today. I got Amir Celia, I got Lisa Ray, and I got Mustafa coming in. We will be talking about some stuff tonight. Trust me when I tell you, it will be definitely food for thought and something to hear. I appreciate you all. We are coming up on the holidays, so please be careful in whatever you do out there. And I get it. With that being said, and saying all of that, I am Bill Forster. Again, this show is sponsored by the Deadly Arts of Survival magazine. The new edition coming up, my Jiu-Jitsu family, but this is Wesley Snipes. He's on this cover. Also, too, it is a hot day out there. It's also sponsored by Reggie Wells Quality Speakers, sponsored by Melba Wilson. I'll mention these people periodically out throughout the show. Excuse me, tongue getting tied. And also Leon Ellis Chocolat. And of course, Soft Illusions. They just came off. They had an interview with Channel 2 in Philly. They did an excellent thing at the Arts Festival. So it was just awesome, man. It was really awesome. Stefania, how are you? For those that you know, if you're watching it from YouTube, subscribe to it. If you're watching it from Facebook, please share it. I got an awesome panel. I will let them introduce themselves to you right now. I have my brother and my sister in the building. Let me just get all my computer stuff situated. There we go. Now we're rocking and rolling. Let me bring in my man, Amir Celia. See how he doing. What's up, Amir? How you feel, brother?
I'm good. How's everything, Bill? Man, it's good to be here. Thank you as always for having me on the panel and having me on your show. Appreciate it, King.
Thank you. And I got my sister. She's in the building. She's a poet. She does so many different things. She got stuff going on. I'll let her tell you about that, but let me introduce her, Miss Lisa Ray. What's up, Lisa?
Can I mute?
You're muted. You muted. You got the bubble. You got the bubble gum in your mouth. Yeah.
Tell me. It's actually look.
Oh, okay.
Anyway.
Okay.
Okay, I'm back. I had to put the dog up.
Yeah. So Lisa, tell people what you got going on. You're doing a lot of. What's up, Tony Perez? Tony Perez is in the building. Wow, my guy.
Tony. Well, I am an author and a poet. I have 2 books out, actually. I am a contributing author to a book called The Reveal. It's a book of 10 testimonies, 10 powerful testimonies, men, women, amazing. And I also have penned a inspirational book of poetry called Angel's Heart Guided by Light. My middle name is Angel, hence Angel's Heart Guided by Light. Promoter still, but I'm promoting something else. I started a nonprofit called Angel's Heart for Hope to bring awareness to multiple sclerosis. And that is my mission right now, to encourage and inspire people who are suffering in silence and being that voice, and just being transparent in my own journey so I can help somebody else. So that's the short.
Absolutely. That's what's up. I appreciate you. Appreciate you all for stopping in and hanging out with me today. So y'all the guest panel, y'all the guest host, y'all doing it all. Y'all gonna just be guessing until y'all here. With that being said and saying all that, there's so much going on in the world. We're still talking about the insurrection, January 6th, tax prices, crime. But we're talking about Roe E. versus Wade. And we're also going to talk about tonight about, is men in America getting too soft? You know what I'm saying? So those are the 2 topics I definitely want to concentrate on. For those that remember last week, we were talking heavy about that stuff. And I'm definitely waiting for Mustafa because he has very strong opinions and stuff like that. But especially, we're going to start off with Roe versus Wade. And because, Lisa, you are the woman of this panel tonight, you will go first and express your feelings on what you feel about that whole situation, sis.
Well, I'll say this. I as a woman, as a person, period, I want to be able to make my own decisions, right? As a younger woman, especially, and I have to say, I have made some decisions that was favorable for me at the time when I was very young. However, now being a mother and having had a child and having raised other children, and having a belief in God, I have some, some limitations on what I would do and what I wouldn't do. And so, me personally, I'm definitely I'm pro-life today, right? And I'm not saying that I haven't been pro-life, but I'm just saying, when you're young and you find yourself in a situation and you need to make a decision on something that's going to affect your future in your life, you do what you need to do. And
Okay.
and I am a person that has done that. And however, today would I do it? No.
Okay.
Me personally, I would not. In a case where there is, God forbid, I mean, even incest and just those things that are just hard to comprehend and understand, rape, that decision should be, in my opinion, left to the woman. And who's to say that the woman would not want to move forward with having a child full term because of her belief? So I'm not wishy-washy, but I'm conflicted in some of those places. I do think, you know what, me, Lisa, no. But I do believe that a woman should have her, whatever your belief is in your heart, that's what you should be able to do. And it's in a sense, challenging your freedom, right?
Okay.
So I'm going to leave it there for now.
Well, I appreciate that. I'm going to extend this to anybody out there, any woman or man that wants to join these conversations tonight. We're going to definitely talking about Roe v. versus Wade, and we're going to talk about men in America. Are they getting softer? So I'm extending the olive branch. Shout out to Tony in the building, Tony Herbert, Tracy. Shout out to all the people that's watching. Collins, Darren, Joseph. Amir, take your shot, brother. Go ahead. What you feeling?
The interesting thing about any of these laws that supposedly govern our lands or just, govern us in general, I just find it interesting that in a place where the supposed overall energy and or train of thought is to be and to have freedoms, that you then take those freedoms back, good, bad, and indifferent. And the reality of it all for me is this: I do not think that any body other than the person themselves should have domain over themselves. Right. Period. I most certainly do not think it should be left in the hands of a government. I think it should be left in the hands of the parties involved. If there is a mother and a father or whatever other combination of things may have happened to bring us to that moment, I think it should be left up to those parties to sit down and amicably come up with some sort of solution that works for all parties involved. To Lisa's point, and this is part of the issue with these kinds of laws and these kinds of moments. I know myself personally. I have two beautiful daughters. Probably if I probably would have about 6 kids, truthfully speaking.
Absolutely.
Now, I'm not saying that to be mean or facetious or braggadocious, and most certainly I'm not saying it to hurt the women who have had to go through that situation. We went through that situation together. I'm sharing that because in all reality, to something that Lisa touched on a little while ago, is sometimes we're not necessarily prepared for certain things. And I know there's always the beautiful people who say, but our grandparents and our great-grandparents had kids when they were 12 and 9 and they worked in the field. This ain't those times, first off. Secondly, we are now supposedly in spaces and are supposedly able to make better decisions because we know better. See, when you don't know certain things, and this is where I always have a tough time with a lot of this stuff. If you look at some of our grandparents, maybe not yours, but I know, for instance, mine, having spoken to my mom, my grandparents, meaning my mother's parents, were only allowed to have up to a sixth grade education. I want everybody to think about that. Only up to a sixth grade education. Now, but that doesn't mean they couldn't educate themselves further than that. But technically speaking, during their generation, during their era, that was the height of their education. Sixth grade education aside, a lot of our grandparents have made absolutely phenomenal strides, and we have all these beautiful families to speak of, including the three faces that you see on the screen right now. But I bring that into the conversation because as the generations have gone further, we've also educated ourselves more. We've also put ourselves in situations and spaces and places that we're able to do better. So when you start thinking to yourself that now at this time and at this juncture of our lives, us taking the opportunity to really look at what we may or may not be capable of doing. And children require time, they require energy, they require love, they require a lot of different things that sometimes people are not either prepared to give, don't understand how to give, and may or may not be prepared for. So let's not drag children into situations that, for lack of a better, you're not prepared to do anything with. Because now all you've done is ruin two lives, not just one, two. And we see microcosms of this all the time when we are conversing sometimes amongst not only our peers, but when you're seeing these children and the way that they're interacting and reacting out here in the streets, because they have been dragged into situations that have not allowed them to fully develop, to fully grow into their whatever beautiful thing they're supposed to contribute to the world. So I just think that this particular thing is sad because you took away the power for, like I said, the immediate parties to have a say and to come to some sort of resolution between themselves. So that's my take.
Very well. Before I give my comment and what I feel, I just want to shout out to everybody that's watching, and I'm extending the olive branch to any woman or man that wants to discuss this, have this conversation, and you feel pro or against the decision, your choice. One thing you know about Real Talk Chronicles, we're here not to change minds. We're just here to open them. So, that's where we are right now. Shout out to Cheryl, Tracy. Tracy said, and I'm just going to read some of the comments. Tracy says, then for anybody and everybody, then be prepared to have safe sex. Stefania said, at the end of the day, if a woman wants an abortion, best believe she's going to find a way to have one. Yeah, that's true. But hopefully right now, with the way things are going, you don't need to go back to those barnyard days where somebody's getting a hanger, stuck up in them, and God forbid. Stefania also says there are women that use abortion as birth control, and that is unacceptable. Now they'll be somewhat forced to be sexually accountable. True. Some people have been frivolous and just do what they do and then think, oh, well, it is what it is. Vera said, depending on the state of the victim of rape, rape is in. If she has a child, the rapist can sue her for visitation and or custody of the child. If he gets custody, he can sue her for child support. How crazy is that? We'll get back to that one. That's a deep one. Tony Perez, my guy, he said a woman should always have the right to choose. Right? Stefania says, I fall somewhere in between pro-life and pro-choice. So I understand what Lisa is saying. Shout out to everybody that's chiming in. I see you, Pep. Deb Wash is in the building. Tracy also said people must be responsible for the choices they make. And at the end result, if you don't prepare, should not be abortion. Okay. I think we all have made mistakes, if we're going to use that word, carelessly or whatever the situation was, irresponsible. The one thing that I think if you want to go an irresponsible route or you want to go a careless route, whatever, however you want to articulate it, it would have changed everybody's life. People may have had to done things, or they may not have been able to go down that career path because people would have just been having to sacrifice so much and so little. And I'm not just talking about the three of us, but I'm sure it definitely would have changed our situations, right? But what about, and it definitely probably would have changed. It would have made people do things at 20, at 17, 18 years old, going to work, not school. Parents would have had to assist and help raising your children. Not that grandparents would not have helped anyway, but now it's more responsibility because now the onus is we're sliding a responsibility because at a young age, I'm sure we would not have known because obviously maybe we've been blessed to been raised by a village, but this generation, maybe what we were doing may not have been raised by a village. Some may have, some may have not. I know Lisa, your family helped you with rice. So, I mean, that was a village-esque kind of situation. Amir, like I said, I'm sure you're very family-oriented. And, I mean, I am an only child, but I help mentor and raise kids. And also I sit back and I see, like, wow, this whole thing is crazy. Some are under the premise that the white culture is feeling like the old white man is losing his grip. So that's why he's changing these laws. Some people are coming from a spiritual aspect. Lisa is, I can't wait till Mustafa comes on because Mustafa's coming, he comes from a Muslim aspect, or as he says. The one thing is, people have been telling people what to do all their lives. I think it's a choice. Amir, you might have to turn down your phone. If you're watching it from your phone, not your computer. If you're watching it from your phone, then turn down the volume, or just mute it, and then when you talk. Yes. So I say all that to say there are so many different angles how people are coming at this, but the bottom line is, it is a woman's choice. To me, my personal feeling, it is a woman's choice. I think we're all spiritual. I'm not going to say you're 10 and I'm a 2, or, because I think people use spirituality and religion to benefit them when they want to. You understand what I'm saying? I mean, we all can do that. I think as we have gotten older, we have gotten closer because I'm sure we were all raised and put in a church atmosphere, whatever the religion was. And then from that 18, maybe to 30, we was like, yo, we was in the club and the party. You know what I'm saying? Right? Exactly. So now I think we've fallen back because we've all seen the fruits of our labor. We've seen so much. We've seen so many people go and come that we are now in a place where we're just at peace and in a different mindset. Our beliefs are more pronounced than they ever were from that age 18 to 35. You know what I'm saying? Like in basketball, Amir, that our prime kind of to say. But with that being said, I personally don't feel I should tell Lisa what to do with her body, because I can't. Because if I had a relationship with any woman and then she got pregnant, if she don't want it, she's gonna get rid of it. Even if I want it, I don't have the choice. And if she's gonna keep it to spite me or because she just want to keep it, she's gonna do what she want to do. So, I mean, what next? If you want a child and a woman doesn't want it, what, I'm going to take her to court, or I'm going to take it, you know what I'm saying? But that goes back to what Tracy was saying. People, was it Tracy that was saying about the rapist? Was it, I got to get back to that. Vera with the wonderful last name. She would say, depending on the state the victim of the rape is in, if she has the child, the rapist can sue for a visitation and or custody of the child. If he gets custody, he can sue for child support. What kind of crazy shit is that?
That's ridiculous.
You know what I'm saying? So now this is much bigger and deeper. You just violated a woman. And now she gets pregnant. She's trying to get this out of now. I could never know what a woman would go through being forced to have sex with somebody, right? I I've heard some stories that stays with you forever. Now you got to see the guy that did it, and then in exchange, meet and have give him the child, and then if push come to shove, if you working and you finally become that woman that you are, now he gets to sue you for child support. Come on, man, knock it off. Stuff is getting really crazy, and things are getting out of hand. Tom Zane, Miss Rosario, how are you? Tracy said, in life we make choices, and then our choices make us. Choose wisely. I get that, but let me ask you all a question. I think you said it, but I mean, especially to the RTC people that are listening in, because I think it's easiest for us to say this now that we're not trying to have children. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm married. We're not having a child. Lisa, I don't know.
If I could, I'm gonna be honest. If I could, and if I could, and circumstances were correct, I would love to. I'm just saying, and I'm 100, but it's okay.
Okay, but you know what's so funny, and that's good. I'm glad you said that, because if you could, but it's still about having the right partner. Am I correct?
Absolutely. That's all things. All of that has to be absolutely
right, because the bottom line is still being able to bear a child. You still want to be with that right person, because right now, maybe before you had your nephew, you still was maybe that financial chick to be able to handle it with or without the father. But the thing is, you still wanted to have a foundation.
Absolutely.
Please, Amir, correct. Let me know. Would you want to still have a child? Like what's your mindset today in comparison to when you were a young man?
Well, it's so funny. I mean, me personally, I would have to say at this stage, no, only because I'm selfish. I'm just going to keep it 1,000. I'm selfish. And my selfishness has more to do with, I have my eldest daughter is 29. My other daughter will be 16. And I have two beautiful grands. My granddaughter will be 2, the 15th of July. And my grandson will be 8 in November. So for me, I got little ones that I can chase around if I really want to chase them around, but I can give them back. That's the beauty of it. I personally feel like when you are having children, it should be done when you're younger, only because the energy levels that you have seem to be better suited for that kind of parenting. I'm not saying that having a child older is a bad thing, because we, have been seeing it much more so, especially in the last few decades, where that is, starting to happen and be more commonplace, which I think is absolutely wonderful. I just know for me, I'm 53. And if I had a kid now, I'd be 63 by the time the kid really got to any grade school. So I go to parent teacher and they're like, "This your grandfather?" I'm like, "No, this my dad." Now I'm turning everything over in the classroom, knocking all this stuff over. So I know for me personally, like I said, I'm just mindful and thankful of being in this space, and thankfully having had my children when I was a little bit young, at least my daughter. And having the opportunity to raise them and make them into, or help them be the beautiful young women that they are now.
Whoa, what's up? Let me just say this: we got a full house in here tonight. We got Chuck. Chuck is on the block. I see him, and we got Mustafa in the building. This is good. I'm glad. I want another lady, please. So any lady out there that wants to join, let me know. I'll try to get you the link. Mustafa, what are you doing? Mute yourself. Yeah, Mustafa. Where you think you at? You talking? So anyway, shout out to everybody that's watching in. So any lady that wants to join this conversation, I really would appreciate it, because the bottom line is I still want to understand where the ladies come from with this. The men are from different perspectives of this situation, and I get it. So I totally understand that. Roscoe said the women and her partner are the only ones with a dog in their fight. People need to mind their situations. What's up, Cassandra? Marlene is in the building. Lisa said, "Amen," because my grandson wears me out. Exactly. So that is a point. We can give these grandkids back. You know what I'm saying? People don't understand that. What's up, Ruthie? Kia, you're right. She said, yes, you can give them grands back. Yeah, Lorraine. She says it should always be a woman's choice. No man court should have to say so about a woman's uterus. Roscoe said each individual should mind their individual business. Who is anyone the court, the government, etc., to tell me what I have to do with my scenario. Absolutely.
I like that.
Mark said, "My man, what's the plan? What's good, B? As always, peace to the panel." Absolutely. Shout out to Nathan Ingram, the creator, one of our sponsors of the Daily Arts magazine. Like I said, you can get this on Amazon, the #1 magazine in martial arts, and it's Black owned. So if you're feeling that you want to support your people, just get that magazine. I am in, I think, the 2nd and 3rd edition. Shout out to brother Nathan. And also, I got Chuck is in the building, but I got Mustafa. Mustafa, you off the phone?
Yeah, sorry about that. Yeah.
Okay. So Mustafa, the story is Roe versus Wade. What's your choice? You know, from all whatever perspective, man, religion, you know, whatever way you want to choice.
Yeah, I'm a supporter of the repeal of Roe v. Wade, and it's a matter of not just women's rights. It's a matter of what are we doing to protect the future of our community, and sending a message that Roe v. Wade is not necessarily a woman's right to choose per se, as much as it was a movement, a progressive movement from the so-called progressive, so-called Democrats that was pushing the destruction and determination of Black people. When Planned Parenthood was put in place, it was founded by, again, I don't know the female's name. One of your viewers definitely would know. By a staunch racist white woman who wanted to kill off Black people, but she knew she couldn't do it in the open, so she came up with this idea of Planned Parenthood, putting the women's reproductive system as a front, and for giving Black women rights or women rights to abort children, abort their babies. Essentially, it worked because they put these Planned Parenthood. If you Google Planned Parenthood offices, many of them are located in poor African American neighborhoods where people lack resources, and these facilities give them the resources and the locations where to go to get treatment. And I'm not against free reproductive medical care, but I'm not for giving anyone the right to think that they can go around having intercourse and having sex with whoever they want, and then using the abortion process to just kill off the babies. To me, at some point, we got to say enough is enough, and that we need to control and we need to increase our population and increase family values. And Roe versus Wade gives the right back to the states. New York State will have the right and the power to determine whether or not they want to have abortion in this state. And we know that it's a very liberal state. It's controlled by the Democrats majority at this point. And hopeful won the primary yesterday. There's a very high likelihood that she will be the next continued governorship in Albany. New York State won't have that issue as far as having abortion rights.
Wow. Any questions, comments on anybody from rebuttal? First and foremost, let me just thank my man Chuck Richards back, one of the other hosts. So we got a lot going on in here tonight. If anybody wants to rebuttal the name or comment on what Mustafa said, and the name you were talking about was Margaret Sanger.
Margaret Sanger, yeah. You know, my only rebuttal to any of it, whether we're looking at it supposedly from the perspective of there being an overpopulation one way or the other. I've said this on a few other lives, and this is just something that I believe and I stand on. The reality of any race being wiped out one way or another is ludicrous. That's first off. Secondly, let's just be clear. You're talking about a group of people in particular who in their earliest stages, that means when they first set foot here on this land, and there were the indigenous people, there were people of color, and so forth and so on, they immediately started going in and having sex with those women. So the demise, if there is a demise to a group of people, started with that. So it didn't have anything to do with the fact that they're not reproducing and so forth and so on. It had to do with the fact that you made a decision to go down to slave quarters and or to go into teepees or whatever housing situations were prevalent in this country in the early stages. Now, I'll bring that to the conversation because I'm just tired of hearing this whole ideology that somebody is going to be gotten rid of. There's no such thing as people being gotten rid of. What you're upset about, and I'm not talking about you in particular, Mustafa, because I know this is not your nationality. What they're upset about is you're just upset because your old unfortunate, horrible way of thinking and or using your power is starting to dwindle, because now people have woken up and going, okay, enough of the foolishness. Now, if you want to utilize the government as your wielding power or whatever the case may be, okay, I guess. But really? Because the reality of it all is, in every situation, especially when it comes to relationships, it is the parties involved. It does not have anything to do with all these other extra things. Now, they can have opinions, they can say what they feel and or what they think, but the reality of it all is it's the two people who actually have the situation who need to be able to make a resolution. I don't think that it should go further than that, because when we start giving government and people who weren't there and have nothing to do with it, then how do you regulate that?
But can I rebut on that, Amir?
Sure, go ahead.
So you're saying that the government is imposing their rights by having Roe versus Wade. Number one. Number two, when these so-called two people, a male and a female, get together and produce a child, let's be realistic here. The man in the situation really do not have rights to determine whether or not that baby is aborted or not. The right, as they say, my body, my rights, my body, my choice. Right. So the man in this portion, they don't have the rights. The woman has all the rights to do whatever she pleases, whether she wants to get an abortion or not, irrespective of whether or not the male wants that child or not. The woman has all the power in this country to determine that or not. So, and whether it's Roe v. Wade or not, men don't have rights on this issue. We can't, unless you have something to show me otherwise, based on my experience, based on seeing what men go through in this country when it comes to protection of the parental rights. Men do not have the same protection in this country, in the United States, that women do.
Amir, I'll let you comment. Hold on for a second. Amir, I'll let you comment back if you want to, and then I'm going to bring Chuck in, and then I have a question for you, Mustafa. Somebody wants me to ask you a question or a couple of comments.
No, I'll just say this really quickly. I absolutely agree with Mustafa and what he's saying, but what I was saying is, in theory, what should happen is the resolution. That's the key part of this thing that I'm saying, should be between that man and that woman. The reason why the resolution is not is because we've created an ideology that says no man has a say in it, as opposed to us recreating an environment that goes, hey, two retarded people or really smart people got together. The end result of it was this. How do we resolve it? That's our problem. We don't work for resolutions now. We work to be right and or to be wrong. And that's where we have all of the convolute. That's why things are so convoluted, because people want to be right and wrong. Nobody wants to actually work towards resolutions and go, hey, let's look at this from a logistical standpoint and make a decision where everything and everybody comes out on the winning side, one way or another.
Hold on. Chuck, I'm gonna bring you in. Mustafa, Ruth Bodie said, are you against abortion in any case, i.e. health of mother, rape, incest?
Yeah, I'm not. If there's rape, if there's rape from incest, anything of that nature, if the woman's life is in a situation where it's between her life or the baby's life, I support giving the woman the right to have that abortion. Yes.
Okay. Go ahead, Chuck. I'll read other comments, but I want Chuck to come in and give your take on it, Chuck. Welcome back, brother. Too.
Hey, brother, can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we got you. We hear you.
Okay, yeah, I wasn't sure, man. I'm trying to adjust this thing in the car. It's all new to me. So first and foremost, man, hello to everybody.
Chuck.
Glad everybody's good.
Hello.
Look, this whole thing about Roe versus Wade, I mean, as far as I'm concerned, I think that the country overall is taking a step back into the 40s, into the 50s. Right? I mean, and it's being calculatedly done systematically, associated with changing of voting rights. Unfortunately, the issue associated with this last election, a lot of these white cronies, white boys was unhappy. All right, so now let's chisel away at the fiber of this country, which they say they want to make this country good again, right? They said we want to get this country back on its feet, and we want America to be good again. I'm sorry, man. From a black perspective, this damn country ain't never been good to me, so I don't know when it's been good. So you know what I'm saying? So if you could show me when it was good, then fine. I mean, things are better, but it's not perfect. But the overall issue now of going in so far as taking away the overall rights of a woman to make a decision associated with her body for a bunch of white cronies to say that moving forward, that a woman doesn't have any right to make a decision direct related to her body, especially when it comes down to something as heinous as rape. I mean, first and foremost, if you look at it even from a psychological perspective, what a woman has to go to even make that decision, first and foremost, to have an abortion is a big goddamn deal. And we as men don't know what a woman goes through psychologically, physically, mentally, spiritually, even having to make that decision first. Then second of all, for them to go through it is another traumatic experience. And then whatever happens post is another experience. So now to sit there based on any circumstances, for them to have to first to go through that psychologically to make that decision, and then to go through it, and now to say, guess what? We're telling you that, honestly speaking, your body's not your own anymore. It doesn't belong to you. It belongs to the federal government. And as far as I'm concerned, you can't have an abortion. If you want to have an abortion, you're going to have to actually skip God knows how many state lines in order to get it legal. And from where I'm sitting, I think that's an injustice. And I think, honestly speaking, regardless of what people's religious preferences are or spiritual preferences are, I don't have the right to tell a woman who now first has to make the decision physically and psychologically about having an abortion, and then to say, well, you don't have a right to it. That's not an option for you. Yes, we all have made mistakes, all right? And we all have maybe been in positions where, I mean, taking into consideration a married couple, they have 3 kids, right? Maybe they're already strapped to the hills, right? With bills, and they're overburdened with all types of debt. And then they weren't looking to have a 4th child, and they accidentally get pregnant. That's a legally binding relationship. And now they realize that they're going to have a 4th child, and they know that they can't afford to have this 4th child. And now they have to make a decision. You're now telling that even in that particular circumstance, that they can't make that decision, that she can't say, well, it's in our best interest fiscally, financially, we won't be in a position to take care of this child, that now you have to have it no matter what. And now you're telling me that Uncle Finster, who decides to violate his fucking niece, gets his freaking niece pregnant, that she can't have an abortion either? That now she has to bring this baby to term, and now she has to see Uncle Finster every goddamn day of her life and having this child, and now he has the right to say, well, I'm going to take the child from you? This country is going ass backwards. It's crazy. It's ridiculous. And I'm sorry. I think not only the thing about it, it's not only going to hurt people of color, but I'm sorry, it's going to hurt white women too. I mean, they should be up in arms. They should be hitting the streets. They should be up in arms about this issue too. It is affecting every single woman, regardless if it's some underhanded cultural thing that people are saying, well, the white race is going to be diluted by 2030, and they're trying to ensure that they stay somewhat in power. Look, if we're having interracial relationships now, they're going to continue. I'm sorry, the white race is there. I don't even know anybody that's purely white anymore. I don't know. It doesn't exist. It's not existing now. So it can't be about that. Is it a financial thing, a fiscal thing? I don't know. But to sit here and to tell a bunch of white guys to sit around and tell a woman moving forward that you cannot have an abortion, and if you want an abortion, you're going to have to skip lines where financially some people can't do that, I think it's a disgrace. And I mean, that's my personal opinion. I know nothing against my man, any of you guys who feel differently, who coming from a religious perspective and coming from something that's religious, I get that. But I don't think that we as men have the right to tell any woman what she can and cannot do with her body. I can't have kids. I can't have children. A queen I'm sorry, as far as I'm concerned, even in a household, the queen is really the king. Because without her, I'm not here. Without a woman, I'm not here. So honestly
Yeah.
speaking, I'm not the king of my castle. The queen is. So
Yeah.
who am I to tell my queen you can't do X, Y, and Z with your body? I just find it that it's totally disrespectful. And for them to reverse this the way they've done it, I think it's an injustice to all women.
Anybody want to comment before I read some questions? This is Real Talk Chronicles. I'm your host, Bill Forster. I got my co-host back, Chuck Richards, and I got my special co-host panel. I got Amir Steele, I got Mr. Lisa Ray, and I got my man Mustafa. Mustafa, tell people how to pronounce your first name again.
Baher is my first name.
Yes, exactly.
Right.
I'm not going to try that. Maybe if I had a couple of Tito's in me, I might try to flip it, but I'm going to leave it alone right now. But anyway, listen, this is a beautiful thing. This is real talk. This is what we want to feel. Lisa, you want to chime in? And Amir,
Yes.
Go ahead. Go, sis.
So, you know, I definitely don't think the government should have any control over women. I think we should be able to make our own decisions and make our own choices. However, I think we need to get back to the morals and the values and the men and women in the household, the two parents coming together and helping educate young people and having those conversations on being responsible when you're having sex. Why do you abstain from sex? What's the reason for that, right? There's a couple of reasons, are you mature enough to handle, like, it's just, when you're young, you just like, I don't know, guys, when you're young, it's just a feeling. It's much more than that. It's much more than that. So we need to educate and we need to come together and we need to go back to what our parents taught us. I didn't really have a full understanding why I should wait to be married to have sex until I became older. As I had all these experiences, and then I had an understanding of why my mother, kind of told me that this is why, this is the reason. You don't do this, You can't have a boyfriend until you're 19. I'm like, what? We don't have an understanding. We have to have those hard conversations with our children. Maybe it should have been, my father was very raw. He would tell you straight up how things were. He just was flat out, would say things and you'd be like, oh my God, I can't believe he said that, because he knew what was going on, but he tried to protect us in the best way that he knew how. And he was a cop for 32 years. He was in World War II. He wasn't having it. He was like, I got my gun. I'm going to shoot you if you come near my girls. And we were finding a way to get with our boyfriends or whatever. You're going to do what you want to do. At the end of the day, two people, if they want to get together, they're going to find a way to do it. But we need to do things in a responsible way. And I think we have to bring education back. Yes, it starts with the family. The family is most important. But what about those children who don't really have families? And I know many of us step in for other people, other children, as their parent, as their mentor. We have to not be the person that says, oh, I'm going to mind my business. No, that is my business. If I see something happening that's wrong in a household or to a child, it's my business. If I see that, it's my business. I need to do something. So it's a little frustrating, and I know I'm a little bit all over the place, but I think we need to get back to the morals and the values and educate, and people need to have an understanding. It's not just a feeling, it's bigger than that. There's responsibility, because what are the outcomes?
And Lisa, I appreciate that. Amir, before I bring you in, I have some comments that come in fast and furious, but I have 2 points to make. The one, you and Mustafa, you said, let's get it back to the way it was. Well, I think that's a big problem, because we can't even get our children to stop killing each other. So I don't even know how we're going to get it back if we're talking about sex, because these kids out here are twerking and doing all kind of disrespectful things on the screen. So to stop them to have sex is so far beyond, like, we're like putting the cart before the horse now. Like, we're trying to tell you not to you can't have an abortion, but we can't even stop them from having sex. You see what I'm trying to say? So I get what you're saying about doing the values, but who's teaching these kids? Because these kids are out here killing each other. White, black, Spanish, whoever. They all out here killing each other. Mustafa, to your point, when you started off, you went into politics before you went into the beliefs. So this is about Democrats, Republic to you before. Is it before you believe in just a faith aspect that women should not do it, because you followed up with that? And a lot of times with people, they lead with their first thought process. So you went. Now, stay with me on that. Hold that. I got to get to some of these statements, because these statements are directed at some of your people. Amir, anything you want to say real quick before I get to a statement? Go ahead.
The only thing I'd probably add to it is to I think Chuck's point. I don't know if people really understand this part of the process, and I say this humbly because, again, like I said, I have two beautiful girls. Every single solitary time a woman has a baby, there's a chance for her to not make it. Every time, not sometime, not part of the time, every time. So with that having been said, we really got to be careful about how we tell or what we tell people they can and cannot do, because, again, every single time a woman has a child, there is a chance that she may not make it. The child might, but she might not. So because of what Chuck brought to the conversation, with them being the power that they are in the grander scheme of things, come on, guys. And I get it. We, as men, there's this bravado. There's this energy that we feel like we need to exercise. But the exercising that we really need to do, to some degree, is just making sure that the aesthetics for the children that these beautiful queens bear are there and are usable and are protected and those kinds of things. That's why I said the conversations that we really need to have aren't the conversations that we're having because we want to posture. Everybody wants to stick their chest out and act like they're doing something and saying something great. And it's much deeper than that. I've said this on Bill's show before. Bill knows I've said this. My mom says this to me all the time. She said, the hand that rocks the cradle rules the world. There's no guy on here, for the most part, who are rocking cradles. It's the women that are. So we got to start with that. And from that standpoint, then we got to start all the other posturing and all the other ideologies that we think add to that. Absolutely. And until we kind of figure that part of the equation out, we're always going to have what we're going through now.
Right. And let me just say this, everybody, this is Real Talk Chronicles. I'm your host, Bill Forster. I have Lisa Ray, Amir Sealy, Mustafa, and my man Chuck Richards in the building. Of course, I got my lovely wife behind me. The show is sponsored by Ingram Taxes, Daily Arts of Survival, Reggie Wells. There's so many people, Melba, Leon Ellis, and of course, Soft Illusions Art Gallery that had a beautiful show over the weekend. I want to say something that, for these men, as we talk about that, make choices over women, right? Like Chuck, I piggyback what Chuck was saying. I wonder how many abortions they had. How many women had abortions from them? You know what I'm trying to say? And now you can sit back on your grandioso and be so hypocritical and say, because I guarantee you, I am sure, if there was a lie detector test, whoever their higher power is sitting up in the skies looking at them like, are you really fucking kidding me? Are you really kidding me? You, Miss Come-a-lot, and don't want to bag up. And now, you know what I'm saying? You got 3 abortions, and now all of a sudden, now your life is squeaky clean. You're a judge and whatever, and you want to sit here with your little badass kids, and you want to talk about, now, I don't want women can't have abortions. Now, let me go to the comments and questions, because this is what's popping. Lisa, I'm a survivor. She said the overturning of a law that was established in 1973, over 40 years ago, is very, very concerning. I believe it's a matter of the government's control. What's next? It's mind-boggling how Roe v. versus Wade, after so many years, could be overturned so quickly. Just disgraceful, and how many more children have to suffer abuse and abandonment. It's so funny that you can change this law faster than you can change any gun laws, though. I will admit that. Roscoe said, if it's the woman's body, Mustafa, period, can you make one? Or they can, or then you can't control a woman or any other or any other people. Let me see it. People said Roscoe said, Mustafa, get a grip. You can't control anyone else's life but your own. Stefania said, like a lady said at Trump rally, this is a win for white life because the day of them being majority is coming to an end. I heard that. Roscoe also said, if a woman wants to abort a child, why do they need your permission to abort a baby? Who do you think you are, Mr. Mustafa, to think you have the right to insinuate they need permission from you or anyone else like you? Stop it if you can't tell nobody what to do, the situations you control. Mustafa, you ruffled some feathers. That's good because that's what Real Talk is all about. Let me see what else we got to say. Stefania says, I'm going to play devil's advocate to Mustafa's point. If a woman is pregnant and wants to keep the child, and the father does something to cause her to lose the child, he goes to jail. Now, vice versa, he has no say, right? No rights. So, from that perspective, I understand your point, Mustafa. Well, let me say this on that topic. I'm gonna read your comment, Cheryl. My mother was in labor for 48 hours. My father had to sign a paper she was about to lose her life. Either it was going to be me or her. He had to make that decision, right? So when it comes down to making choices, I don't even really know. My father was saying whatever it was the hardest decision. But I think I would have been a sacrifice. You understand what I'm trying to say? Because that was already established. So, like, where do we go with certain choices? You understand what I'm saying? For my father to be put in a situation and he had to make that choice, for my mother to be in labor that long, you understand what I'm saying? And it was starting to get bad for her, very bad for her. Let me also read some more comments and stuff like that. Cheryl said, I'll tell you one thing. This law is not stopping no show. If a woman doesn't want the child, she will find a way. I think we all agree. Now, this is where it comes in. And let me tell you something. No one can talk about RTC besides me better than Colin. Colin said, this is RTC, and I'm going to keep it real. This goes to the guys on the panel who claim to be pro-life, and Mustafa, you can respond first. Scenario: your home was broken into by a gruesome Brutus. Your spouse or daughter was brutally raped and is traumatized. Now she finds out that she is pregnant. Would you still be pro-life and expect her to go through with the pregnancy?
I already answered that question. My position when it comes to rape or incest or anything of that nature, or women's health issues, whether if it's going to cause her for her compromise her health or her life, I support the abortion. But anything outside of that, I do not support. If it's that scenario, I support the abortion.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Go ahead.
Yeah.
You can say something if you want. Go ahead, please, if you want to say something.
We're talking about pro-choice. We don't have a right to tell people what to do with their bodies. But the reality is the government has been telling us what to do with our bodies the past 2 years, right? You got to get these. I know it's not the same topic, but they are doing the same thing. And many people have condemned people for refusing to get the shot, for refusing to wear a mask, for refusing to stand a certain way and speak a certain way. The government has imposed that, and the vast majority, a large portion of the population, has walked around saying, you need to get this vaccine. Oh my God, you don't have the vaccine, you're gonna kill us all. So what is it? Are we choosing when the government can tell us if it's our body? Is that just because it's a woman? Or does this count for the whole population? I don't support anything that says that we're gonna put it in a situation where women, let's say for example, women have a right to choose, right? I believe that women have a right to choose what if they want to have a career, if they want to get married. But I also believe that the baby inside that woman's stomach, for example, in New York State, you can get an abortion at 9 months. You're 9 months pregnant, you can go in there and get an abortion. Now, if you take a look at the doctors that are that have explained how an abortion takes place is that a woman's body, they stick a scalpel inside the woman's vagina, and they crack the head of the woman, that baby. They snap they pop the head, okay, and they break that baby into pieces, and they start pulling the baby out.
Wait a minute, wait, hold on. Let me ask you a question. Where are you getting this? I don't know. Are you talking about?
Research how an abortion is done, takes place. If a baby is in a woman's stomach, how an abortion is done. You go to the Planned Parenthood. How do you think they kill off that baby inside the woman's stomach? The woman's 9 months pregnant, and she wants an abortion.
Well, first and foremost, I don't know about 9 months. I can't articulate. I'm just saying I can't articulate and debate something I don't know about. 9 months is a hell of a long time to be talking about. Now I don't want it. You know what I'm trying to say? That's a long ass time. You like. Let's not get carried away. You know, okay, you a day from. Wait, hold on. You a day from it coming out the womb, and then be like, nah, I don't want it. This ain't Jeopardy, or this is not like blackjack, cards and stuff like that. So there's a whole different script with that.
Yeah, but now, Bill, say you get into an argument with your girl. Oh, now you know what? You don't like the way she's talking to your mother. You know what? It's over between us. Oh, it's over between us. Okay, I'm gonna go get an abortion. Do you have a right as a man to say no? You can't have that abortion because it's her body.
I can say what I want to say. She's still gonna do what she want to do.
Yeah, but you have rights.
What right do I have? What right do I have?
It's because you broke up with her because she's a disrespectful person.
Mustafa, if you go home and you say something to your wife and she don't like it, and she be like, yo, I'm tired of your shit, and she leave, and she take the kids, do you have rights to say stay?
No, but I should have rights to protect my kids and have rights to raise my child.
Yeah, but the bottom line,
I can't tell them, but I have rights.
Because the one thing is you went into the government has been telling us what to do. It's like, yo, people pick their poison what they want to fight for, bro. You know what I'm trying to say? Like, because you brought that up. You're good at that. You're good at leaving one topic and then and trying to bring a parable. I be watching your ass. I be watching your ass. We be talking about the sun. Next thing you know, he be talking about the soil. You be like, yo, you get the parable. Oh my God. So I want to say, listen. Until we are the government, we're going to always be part of the band, B. We're going to have to, it's March of the Wooden Soldiers. But the bottom line is, as long as we can vote and put people in the place to say what we want them to say for us, that's what we got. Now, the bottom line is, like I said, you talked about blue states. You talked about that, so it's now we all see it's a political thing. Like I'm kind of following with Chuck on this, on the point of who are these little shriveled old men to tell women what to do. All of a sudden, they're hanging at brothels and all kind of little houses and things like that. And people sign consent forms to have sex, and then next thing you know, they live in the you coming out and then you wearing an old Virginia Squire wig on and you hitting the gravel. Let's knock it off, Mustafa. Really, come on. And then, are you doing this from a religious standpoint, or are you really doing this from the black community? You want to see the black community rise up again? What's your angle? Come on.
I have a faith, and I believe in God. Okay, and without God, human beings won't be in this earth. I'm change the subject. Look, a man and a woman gets together, right? And contrary to the 2022 popular belief, when a man and a woman get together and they engage in relation, they have the potential to produce children, right? I believe that we should wait until marriage to have these children. Number one, okay, and the government, of course, the atheists have pushed this agenda. Oh, we don't need God in government. We don't need God in schools, and all this has been taken away. And you see a gradual drop in respect and in our society as a whole for everything that we live for. because God has been taken away. Number two, I believe listen, let me explain something. I may be Palestinian, I may be an Arab, I may be whatever, but let me just tell you something. I love the African American community. I believe it. They've been shafted.
Well, let me tell you something. You better think you black because you walk down Bensonhurst, you're gonna get your ass beat just like mine. You can say all that shit you want. You gonna get hit faster than me, bro.
I have a meeting to go to. Can I give one quick story? And I have to go to the meeting. So look what happened. I'm at the mall in Long Island. I forgot the name of the mall. And I'm with my kids, and I'm with my little one, and he walks by this table in the food court, and the young people there, they smile. Hey, how you doing? I was like, oh yeah, this is the group that I'm going to talk to. And there happened to be 3 black boys, younger, like maybe 18, 19, 20s, and a young lady. She might be 18 to 20. I said, let me ask you a question. And they all the boys there, young lads, happen to have earrings in both ears and one in the nose. Okay. And I asked them a question.
You know, this is the topic we're going into, but you said you're going to the meeting because we're going to talk about.
Make it real quick. I'm going to make it real quick, right? Look, and I asked you a question. Let me ask you a question. Why is it that I noticed a large portion of young black men have earrings on, as opposed to white men, right?
Oh, get the oh. Yo, what you do? You going around looking at people's ears? You doing surveys? This shit, come on, man.
It's relevant to what we're talking about.
Okay.
And look, they said, why do you care? I mean, why does it matter to you? Because we like it. I was like, no. They said, what do you think? And I told them what I thought, right? They said, I said, listen, the reason why this is happening is because a lot of young men, young black boys, are being raised to be young black men by their mothers or their grandmothers and women figures. And so women have the wear earrings. I know, wear earrings and
you gotta be kidding me. You gotta be kidding me.
Chuck, brother, they wear earrings, and so the boys don't have men in the house to teach them how to be men. And I'm not taking away from your manhoods over here, because I know that Amir, you have earrings.
I got 3. I got 3.
Hold on, brother. Chuck, do you have earrings?
Yeah, I'm wearing them. Both ears.
But who said in the 1960s, in the 50s,
So do I.
Yo, you're good, because you know what? You're a good sister. You're more of a conservative sister. I appreciate you. Listen, who taught you to say that men, look at black men, I'm talking about black men compared to white men that wear earrings. Who said that that's okay?
You know who told me that? I'm going to tell you, told me that.
Who changed that trend? Because
he changed the trend. No, it wasn't changing the trend. If you see every African tribe, every black African tribe from Africa, the men wear earrings. Have you ever seen a portrait of an African king or African prince? They all wear earrings.
Oh, Chuck.
It has nothing to do with a male or female telling me that. My history says as a black man that it's acceptable for me to wear earrings because kings wore earrings.
Wait, Chuck, are you telling me that the majority of the black population in this country understands their history?
No, you asked me.
You asked him about him. You asked
me. You didn't say you asked me a question. You said exactly who is it that taught me about me wearing earrings? I don't know about the rest of the country. I don't know about the other black men. I'm telling you that in my household, my father, when he taught us African history, he showed us photos. He showed me the history of different African tribes. And those portraits show black men with earrings.
What kind of earrings? Were they wide looped
earrings? They were hoops.
Yeah, the hoops.
Wide, long hoops.
Okay, the big ones, the ones that hang down, or the one that
stretch? Brother. Yes, exactly. The big knockers, baby, because the big knocker joints. Yeah, those.
Yeah, but that's not what Jay-Z, Lil Wayne, Puff Daddy, and all these the industry.
I'm not with them. I'm just saying overall, in terms of earrings, I used to wear hoops. I used to wear hoops when I was younger. I just started wearing small earrings now because of my clothing. But I used to wear huggies and hoops all the time on my ear.
because of your African ancestry.
Yes, brother. Absolutely.
Good. So now we got to teach this to the young people and young men because you're telling me that, Chuck, you're only speaking for yourself,
Right.
but when I asked these 3 young men and the young woman, they got very upset at me. They couldn't answer my question.
No, understandable. I get that.
That's the majority. That's majority of the population.
Right. They don't know their history.
So Mustafa, let me ask you a question. If you ask the 3 white boys, young white men, I shouldn't say white boys, young white men or boys, why they wear earrings, and they said because I like it, what would you say?
But I'm gonna say why? Who taught you that you like it? Who? Why? Who? What trend are you? Why they like it?
Eminem.
Who taught you?
Guess what? The white community. Guess what? They're the biggest followers of Jay-Z, Lil Wayne, Puff Daddy. They spend more money.
But how old Jay-Z and Lil Wayne are not older than anybody on this fucking panel. So why are you bringing up this shit?
Doesn't matter. They're influencers. They're trenders.
Let me tell you who my black leaders were, right? First and foremost, I saw white people with tattoos and earrings before I saw any black person, right? Mm-hmm. My black leaders were Malcolm Martin, that my parents taught me, and then Jim Brown, Fred Williamson, and Jim Kelly kicking ass. You know what I'm saying? So I've never seen a weak black man. Let me tell you something. I've had earrings in my ear since I was 14 years old, but I was man enough to wear them. You understand what I'm saying? And you know I've been kicking ass all through narcotics. So you know what I'm saying? Nobody would ever question that on me. So I say all that to say, before I got married, I always had a pretty woman with me. And I still got a pretty woman, and I'm married, and I still got 3 earrings in my ear. So, you know what I'm saying? So when we start stereotyping people like that, Mustafa, that's crazy. Because the bottom line is what you're trying to say is that wearing an earring, and I had earrings in my ear, like I said, I was 14. So what is that, 1979, 78, right? Nobody was trying to make me gay. You know what I'm saying? Because that's what you're alluding to.
No, it's not about making you gay. It's about demasculinizing the black man, and that's happening in this country. It's been happening for years, and they want to strip, and they want to make the black man submissive, right? Instead of being leaders in the household, they want to tell the black woman that you don't need a black man. And that starts from slavery, and it kicks off from slavery to now, where we have 21st century slavery, making people think that they're free, but they're really shackled, right? If a black man says something, come on, brother, you can't tell me that's not happening. Black men have rights over their own children.
Yo, somebody asked me to ask you a question. Do Muslim men wear dresses?
No, they don't wear dresses.
What do they wear? What do they wear?
What do you? In what sense? To prayer? You're talking about doing something?
I don't know. I don't know anything about the Muslim religion that in detail to ask that question. It was just asked. Lisa, do you want to comment on what he's saying? Go ahead, Lisa. I'll let you go. Go ahead.
What, as far as the dressing is concerned?
No, anything, earrings, dressing, whatever. I don't, whatever you want to talk about.
Well,
Mustafa said so much. Mustafa got me.
I think the time that we're living in. I think the time that we're living in. You know, people. I mean, let me just go say this. Why do I wear my hair this way? Why do you think I wear my hair this way? I wear my hair the way that I want to wear my hair. I don't follow anybody in particular. I wear what looks good on me, what feels good on me. That's what I do. So I don't do it because somebody else is doing it. That's me. So, you know, you see, you ever go to back in the day, you know, everybody was getting doobies and wearing their hair straight and whatever, right? You know, I wore my hair was in big curls most of the time, because that's what I feel looked good on me. I wasn't wearing big door knocker earrings and stuff like that. I wore what looked good on me. So I think for the most part, people are wearing these things because they think it looks good on them or they like it. It could be trendy, you know, something that they just want to do for the time. You know what? 10, 20 years from now, they may not be wearing those earrings anymore. So what's the big deal?
Lisa, I appreciate
you cannot say, wait a minute, let me finish. Let me finish. You cannot say because I wear my hair this way that I'm wearing my hair this way because, you know, because I'm following somebody else. Like
different topic. Go ahead. A different issue.
You can't say but I'm saying you're saying that people. Why people? Who taught people to wear earrings? Who taught the young men to wear earrings? Who taught them? Why?
The industry.
That's what you want to.
The industry.
The industry is
the way
an
to go.
influence on probably all of us to some degree.
Yes, that's true. That's true. It's a matter of being conscious and understanding what are we doing, and understand what the system is designed for us to do. They want us to be sheeps. If you want to be a sheep, you follow what the latest trend is, right? If the latest trend says for you to have relations with the same sex, then you're going to have relations with the same sex, right? The trend says have relations with animals, and that's great. Then people are going to
honestly. I'm going to tell you, I don't agree with any of that stuff.
We're sheep. The vast majority of the population are sheep, and they're looking for something to follow and to be part of something, so they can be part of something, right? So if you want to be part of the trend, even though it goes against, it goes with the destruction of families and destruction of supporting demasculinization of Black men, then you can do whatever you want, but the results are very bad. You understand? Obviously, we understand that there is a problem with your structure and within the communities, right? And lack of families and fathers in the household, right? And when a young Black child's first experience, excited about going to see his father at court, and that becomes a norm, right? It becomes a norm. Oh, let's go see daddy. He has court today. Now that child grows up to say, hey, going to court is cool. It's fun. It's exciting. Now when they get older, they get introduced into the criminal justice system, and it's not, and then we wonder why, because it's a trend. It gets shared and passed down from generation to generation. And when are we going to say, when are we going to cut that? When are we going to stop that? We're going to address family structure.
I understand what you're saying when it comes to that. I do understand what you're saying, but how do we stop that?
Well, hold on. Let me just say this, and then Mustafa, where you going? You know you're supposed to be on Real Talk tonight. You were supposed to have no damn meeting. Hold on, because you started the topic last week, and now you're the one that's running, because you're the one that's got everybody grit cooking. You know what I'm saying? So I say all that to say, hold on, Mustafa, hold on. You say that about a person going to court. It's not just. So are you trying to say? This is just in the Black community, or are you just concerned about the Black community first and foremost?
The topic of
I'm just asking. Are you just saying this is happening in the Black community only, or you're just concerned about the Black community, what you see happening?
I'm going to say that I'm concerned about the Black community, and the Black community has a poor rate per capita. Black men are going to be introduced to the criminal justice system per capita than white men. Yes, there are more white men in prison because there are more white men in this country. But per capita, young Black men.
That won't happen anymore after Roe v. versus Wade. That won't in a few years. That won't happen after in about 20 years. That shit is going to change back around. And anyway, let me ask you a question, Mustafa. So when the topic was, we were talking about everybody. This is Real Talk Chronicles, and the other topic that we wanted to talk about, Mustafa and Amir, we talked about last week. Are men in America getting soft? Right? And Mustafa, you had said that you feel men in. Can you elaborate on that? Can you ruffle somebody else's feathers before you go? Because you started it last week, and that was the topic I wanted to take into the second hour of this. That you said men in America are you say it. I don't know what the hell you said. You said it though.
Well, let me ask you a question. Let me ask a question. Are you saying that men that wear earrings that's an indication of them being soft?
No, because back then it was different cultures back then, right? They understood the roles that they played, and they played their roles, right? Nowadays, the roles are you don't need a man in the house, and the man is like, you know what? I'm gonna do what I have to do and not do my job and be a father, right? And it's become normal, right? It's a normal thing to do now to have relations with a woman, and then from there just not be around. So now when it comes to being soft, the population, the male population now, because it's trendy now,
for the women for feminism to be a feminist and to say, hey, you don't need a man in the house. I could do whatever a man can do. It's trendy. So when you're passing that down to young people, especially in schools, right, and teaching girls, yeah, you don't need a man, and boys, you know what, you do what you want to do, right? Now, when they get older, they're gonna have this mindset, and then you're gonna be shocked and surprised, and you wonder why things are the way they are, and that's what's happening. I need to, because I need to finish this. I'm in a school board for, and I need to address some issues there too. But I'm going to finish off with this. I believe that we need to stick together, right? And have a collective understanding of what's important and what is not. Like if you want to wear earrings, right? Fine. Explain to young people why you're wearing the earrings. And Chuck, no disrespect, but vast majority of the population are not wearing earrings because they're ancestors, right? That's
okay.
the
All right.
and why the question, why are Black men getting tattoos, for example, on their necks and their heads and their arms and their face? Why? Because in the 60s, basketball players, in the 70s, the 80s, the 90s, it was not trending tattoos. Now these basketball players are getting tattoos. Now the general public, just basketball players, now the public getting tattoos now.
Now, I admit their role models are different, because let me tell you something. A person getting a tattoo on his neck and his face, he's making $70 million or $16 million a year. He doesn't have to ever go into the office. These young cats, they got the game effed up. But that's white, and that's all nationalities, Mustafa. It's not just the African American community, and it's something that's being highlighted. But I know you. Go ahead, huh?
I love you guys. Salam alaikum. I love you. Take care.
All right, yeah, all right. Mustafa, bring your ass back. We want you. We ain't finished with you.
He be starting fire.
All right, you start the fire, and then you go running and shit. So, talk about it's hot outside. Yo, Amir, come in. I'm gonna let you come in, Amir, and then Chuck and Lisa. We're round robin this shit right now. This guy.
Yeah, first of all, that was hilarious. Just to touch on the whole earrings thing, I just tend to believe that for a lot of us, myself included, we came up in a time and an era where there were certain things that we looked at from a role model standpoint that to us seemingly made sense. Meaning, in some of our communities, there were the guys that, for lack of a better word, were street pharmaceutical salesmen and things of that magnitude. So they had looks and or styles that we just didn't necessarily have. And it wasn't something we did. I'm listening to Chuck, and he makes a valid point. If you know your history, obviously that's one thing. And for vast majority of our community, they may or may not know the history. Even when you look at Black history as a whole, technically you only hear us speak of, the normal pillars, Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, so forth and so on. But it doesn't get much deeper than that for a good portion of our community, because that wasn't something that was taught in the home or trended in the home, as Mustafa alluded to. But I will say this about the demasculization thing. I think what we're up against is a number of forces coming from different places. So for those of us, and I'm assuming all of us are in or around the same age range, when we remember hip hop in its purest form, meaning the beginnings of it and up until 2010 or whatever the case may be, it still had this energy and bravado about it that allowed us to see it in a specific light. We all remember when it made that turn, meaning we didn't have Public Enemy, we didn't have the Jungle Brothers, we didn't have Tribe Called Quest, we didn't have De La Soul and certain groups who offset the craziness, because you could have Coogee Rap, but then you could turn around and listen to Public Enemy, and offset that energy.
Mm-hmm.
And I think musically, we are in a space now where there's not a great deal of offsetting that energy. I think when you look at what they're doing from a media standpoint, because most or just about every television show now has a storyline that somewhat alludes to the letter community, which, again, is what it is.
Right.
I do find it interesting that, quote unquote, you have a whole channel in theory called Logo, if I'm not mistaken, who predominantly catered to the letter community, but now you've made it so that it's on CBS, it's on NBC, it's on ABC, and so forth and so on. And my thing is this: I don't have a problem with any group per se. I just don't like when you force things on people.
Yeah.
If there was a whole channel that already catered to your programming, catered to your lifestyle, why didn't you just make more content for said channel? And then you can go to that channel and watch what it is you tend to want to, buy into and or watch. So I think that that's another avenue that we're unfortunately being forced into. Again, I know all of us on this panel are old enough to remember a couple of things that were mind-blowing to us. For instance, I think it was the first time on Dallas, said the word bitch. Remember that one?
Right. Old school. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Now it's passe to say these kinds of things on, television or in certain spaces or whatever the case may be. So I say all that to say the varying forces that are coming at all of us, including our children, are at such a speed and in such a way that it's hard for some of our young people to disseminate. You add to that, unfortunately, a lot of these young people also having to deal with, and I don't think that it's gender roles in the sense of not understanding it. I think what they're up against is some young people are being forced into spaces where things are happening to them at earlier stages, and that they're able to comprehend and go through the process. Lisa, I think, alluded to that earlier, and so did Mustafa when they brought up the whole family structure. So because, we have so much of these things happening now, like I said, it's such a rapid pace. You guys probably don't watch the show. I only watched it because one of my peoples had put me on, but the show P-Valley, which is on Showtime, if you haven't watched it, caters largely to, the LGBT, TQ community. And the thing about it is, while we do and don't like maybe some of the characterizations or maybe some of the things that are being said and done, I'm not sure if on a grander scale, that is, to Mustafa's point, them not trying to force certain things down everybody's throat. Yeah. I've always said this: I don't care what your intentions are, meaning whatever you decide works for you is fine. I just don't think that it's your job or anybody's job to force somebody else to, definitively have to go along with what your ideologies are, whatever your energy is. And I think that's really what we're up against when it comes to this demasculization thing. It's just coming in from so many different ways, and trying to figure out the various ways to fight it is something that we're challenged with, seemingly, to me.
I thank you. Chuck, I'm gonna bring you in. I just want to make a disclaimer for everybody out there, and especially for myself, is that everybody's views are their own personal views. No one here has issues that I know of with the LGBT community. Let's get that straight. We're just talking about masculinity in America. That being said, I'm not going to sit here and say I hate to hear people say, well, I have this, I have that. It's none of your business what I have. I have family, I have friends that I hang out with. I don't have to tell you, oh, he's gay or she's gay, it's nobody's business. But the bottom line is still talking about what Mustafa is saying. I mean, not Mustafa. Oh yeah, Mustafa too. Amir is saying that it doesn't want to be shoved down somebody's throat. And going to, like you said, the rappers, where right now, I'm from an era where people dressed up. You know what I'm saying? The suits. Like New Edition is today's Temptations to me. And I say all that to say that they're probably the one group that your grandparents, you as parents, and your children know. And they still dress up. Still they do their shows. Bobby Brown be out of breath, but he still have on a suit. You know what I'm saying? When they did, the New Jack Swing era, everybody was dressing up. Now, it's a whole change in styles where everybody, like you're saying, is tatted up and their jeans are hanging off their behind. So, yeah, being feminine. Now you got athletes wearing not even kilts; they're wearing skirts, straight skirts. So that has happened. So I say all that to say, what happened to the masculine man? Is Mustafa having any kind of validity? My cousin, he said this. He said, "I saw you, Lamont." Lamont said, "Absolutely, men are getting soft because the roles are reversed. That the women are becoming tougher. The lesbian agenda." Wow. I mean, you know. I mean, Chuck, your thoughts, and then I'll come to you, Lisa.
Yeah.
Bro, I have to admit, man, it's so much to digest. Yes, there's a lot of different variables and a lot of entities are that are creating a great deal of influence on so many different levels for black men. It's coming. I mean, I don't know if I honestly, let's say right now, if I was a 13 or 14-year-old, I wouldn't know what the fuck to do, honestly, because there's so much influence coming from so many different directions. It's confusing for them. It's probably even confusing for them to kind of manage. And just the mere fact that they're going through adolescence as a teenager, that in itself is a battle, right? Because your hormones, you don't know where you're coming or going. You're trying to figure out who you are. And then you have all these influences, right? You got someone saying it's okay to be gay. You got someone else saying it's good to be straight. No, you had to be more, you had to be more macho. Oh, you're not a real man if you don't express yourself. Oh, don't be. If you're a real man, you shouldn't cry. So it's like all of this, and then you have things
I get it. It's like definitely.
And then you have social media, right, which we didn't have, right? And then you got those influences, and then you got access to the internet, and you got television. Look, like right now, like I said, I don't know what I would do if I was a teenager. I'd probably be one of the most confused fucking kids. But the thing is that I'd probably be fucked up. I really would be,
Right.
But the thing I would hope that what maybe is missing is just the direction. And it has to culminate directly from the household. It has to come from within the household to kind of like get rid of all that white noise that they hear and try to put them in a position to feel comfortable to navigate. And if in fact they decide to navigate in that direction, really, to support them where they are. We have to meet kids where they are. And it has to start first and foremost from the household. And let's say if it is a single parent, right? Well, then that single parent then has to say, okay, I know that I'm raising a boy, I'm raising a man, I want him to be a man. Then fine. You find that one mentor, you find that one adult, you find that uncle, you find somebody within the family that can be that insight. You know what I mean? So I'm saying that there's no one answer to the problem because they're not getting hit with one question. They're getting hit with a million questions. And we have to meet them where they are. But it has to, once again, it's got to be someplace within the household to give them that ability and the freedom to feel comfortable to voice what it is they're experiencing, and us without being judgmental to be able to find a way of filtering out the white noise and give them the ability to narrow down exactly where they are and to hold space for them. Like I said, if I was a teenager, I'll tell you right now, with all this freaking data they're being hit with and all of this media stuff, it's hard. It would be hard to be a teenager because you don't know what turn to take. You don't know where to do. You don't know who to turn to ask these questions. And it's a lot. It really is a lot for them.
Yeah, what's so funny? Elisa, I'm gonna bring you in. I just want to read some comments. Sophia said, "Why are some black men wearing BBLs and wearing skirts and acrylic nails? Come on now, something is off here." Yeah, she said, "I can't believe you watched that." She said, "Amir." Sophia said, "I can't believe you watched that, Amir." She said, "LOL." Sophia also says, "Why are they teaching first graders about being LGBTQ? It's unacceptable because they're kids. They need to stop trying to sexualize the children." You know what? I agree with that because I was just watching Chucky. Now, one of the greatest little killing machines going, Chucky.
Yeah,
Chucky was on TV talking about, yo, I got a gay son. Yo, I was I was like, Chucky, you too? You know what I'm saying? Like, yo.
It's crazy too. Also on that show, there's actually there's a gay couple, two boys. They're two boys, a white boy and a black boy, and they're kissing on television. And it's just Chucky. He's supposed to be out murdering motherfuckers, and you got people. I'm saying, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to curse like that.
But Chucky, but that's what I think. I think that's where we're laughing now. And listen, shout out to the LGBTQ community for doing your thing. But I think like Disney are about to do like I think
already started.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Disney is doing that. So now I used to have superheroes, and I had Daffy Duck and Minnie Mouse and Mickey Mouse, and now I don't know what I have. So is it being forced down your throat? This has nothing to do with how you feel about the people that you love and their family. But is it going, from your feet going north and south and then turning east and west? You know what I'm saying? Like why are the men in America, where are the strong African? And now listen, I'm gonna put this out there. I know some gay men that are men. You know what I'm trying to say?
Absolutely.
I'm talking about white, straight, black, Latin, straight, they gay. They have no problems telling you they're gay, but they are man.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that means their sexual preference is whatever they believe. You know what I'm saying? I respect them and I love them from who they are. I really do. And I've had these kind of certain conversations with how do we save the Black culture? And sometimes they feel that they can't contribute as much as they would like to because they're gay. And that will like denounce them being a man. You know what I'm trying to say? So henceforth, where back in the days there were so many people, what's that word they used to say, on the down low, right? Like you can't stop people from being who they are, but you don't have we don't have to give them suggestive and persuasive thinking. Go ahead, Lisa, your thoughts.
Just in terms of, I was a single parent, and but I was raised by a very strong man and woman. I had both my parents, thank God. Right. Children need both their parents. There is, and I'm gonna tell you, me as a woman, raising a young man and being, the breadwinner, and working on Wall Street. Sometimes maybe being too busy, having him in extracurricular activity, having him in private school, and this, that, and the other. There's some things would have done some things differently. Right. Having had the experience that I have now, yeah, absolutely. He went right over here to the hood school. Mm-hmm. That's what I would have done. Right. Fact, I was in the hood school and I fought and whatever. I was smart, but I fought. And I made it out, and I'm a girl.
And you was light skinned too, so you were smart and light skinned, so you had a lot of shit to fight for.
It was pulling my hair and everything else, but I fought. And I tell you to this day, and anybody that knows me will tell you, they didn't mess with me. They knew if they came at me and you talked a little too much, I'm not talking. I'm throwing the hands up, and that's how it was. And I could fight, maybe not so much now, but. I'll cane you to death. I'll do that. But no, seriously, there's some things I would have done different. Kids need to know how to navigate through certain things. And, when you're a parent and as a single parent, you're trying to overcompensate. You're trying to, be the father and the mother in a sense. But I can't teach a young boy how to be a man. I can't. But I tell you, I had him in all kinds of stuff. And I would put, even when it came to, he was a little boy and going into the bathroom, I had like this cute little picture of this little boy, and that was a picture. He was like, "Mommy, is that me?" I said, "Yeah, that's you." And that's how he kind of learned, because his father and I didn't live together. And I can't tell you how much I wanted that family dynamic. I came from that. I wanted that my entire life since I was a little girl. Girls, we dream of they always say the white picket fence and the family get married. I've never been married, but I am also a very strong woman. So I know that.
Ooh, I know you. Yeah.
I know that men are like, yo, I don't know. I can't. It's too much. I'm being. Bill knows me, and I am all lady, all woman. I'm smart. Yeah. I'm a hustler. I'm an entrepreneur. I'm all that, and I'm all for the black man. But the black man need to be for me. I'm just saying. Right. And men on the soft side, getting soft. My father was, they say women will look for a man that emulates their father. My father was no joke.
Yeah.
I guess if I had to, many times people would say to me when I do certain things, because Bill, how I could be, and people will go, okay, Mr. Ray, because they remember my father, because there's parts of him is in me, for real, like so much. And I've been told this, oh, you want to be a man? I said, somebody got to be. What the, and not that I wanted to be the man, but I'm like, listen, we got a decision to make. We need to make this happen. Come on. Let's figure this out. So you move as, I got you. No, you don't. I asked you, can you take care of this? Because you go, you give me money, get my hair done and my nails done, and that's nice. Thank you. We're going on a couple of trips. Thank you. I appreciate all that. But now there's some things I need to get done, and I'm coming to you and saying, can you take care of this for me? Yeah, I got you. Listen, if you wasn't taught how to do it, how can I expect you to know how to do it?
Right.
I've seen it done by a man. So I am not a man, but I've seen it done. So I know what needs to happen at this point because I saw my father do it. And you're not doing that, but you didn't have that in your life. So you need to know who you're getting with. You need to know the experiences that they had. And I wish, and I love Black men. I still believe in love, and I still am believing God for that man for me. Because I'm tired of doing this. This is too much. All of this. I could be submissive. Like, give me a chance. This is too much. I've had to handle stuff on my own. You know what I mean? And it's not a game. One of my friends said to me, Lisa, oh my God, you're so serious. You're so intense. Do you love anybody? And I bust out laughing. I said, of course I do. I said, but I'm raising a man child. It's not a game. Life ain't funny. Whatever decision I make, I got to make it work. Whatever.
Right.
And if it wasn't the best decision, I had to make it work. That's not and to this day, even when I had found out I had MS, all of a sudden, my son is graduating high school. Now you're gonna go to college. We planned this out. I could have paid you to go to college. Now I am not working. I'm on disability. What the? I said, don't worry about it. Go. I got you. I made it happen. I still kept the roof over our head. He went to school, graduated. But there were things that were missing. And so I have an understanding of why you need both parents. Why, my mother and my father were essential in my life.
Yes.
Absolutely. Hands down. It's so important. And I'm a family person to this day. Why? Because that's what I came from. And even though I'm by myself, I'm still a family person because that's what I saw. And that's what is instilled in me. I'm sorry, I'm all extra with the dramatics. But
you on stage now. You was like, in me. And I was with it, though. I saw it all. You was like,
I had you. But no,
I thought you was about to tee up on a minute. You had me a little quiet. But then I said, when I saw now, you started getting a little theatrical. Your Porgy and Best game got real good.
I know.
Yo, tell me. I see nephew walking back and forth. Tell him I said hi too. Shout out to Bryce in the building, the talented Bryce.
I will.
But hold on. Go ahead.
We need our men. We need our men. I am not a man, and nor am I trying to be a man. And let me just say this. And maybe I shouldn't say this, but I'm gonna say it anyway.
Say it. You grown. It's real talk.
If you know what, I cook. Look, I'm cute still at 57 years old.
You gonna start a Real Talk Chronicles dating contest? I got you. I listen.
Listen, you just gotta, screen them out. Screen them. Y'all screen them. Screen them.
We'll screen them. Right?
And I can't wear high heels anymore because of the MS, but I'm still cute and I still show up, whatever. And I always say, ain't nothing changed but my limp. That's my thing. I'm still a woman. I'm a lady. I like looking good. Listen, I don't do my nails a whole lot unless I'm going somewhere, but I do my toes. Okay. So I'm just saying, I get my hair done.
Oh yeah.
Listen, I don't have no makeup on right now, but let me put some on, honey. Ooh, it's like, wow, you can appreciate that. I don't, you know what I mean? I'm just saying, I still believe in love. The family, children, boy or girl. I never had a girl. I always wish I had, always wanted 4 kids. I got 1. I'm grateful. He's a great son. But children need both of their parents. And I've always been open, willing, whatever you're included. You're a part of this decision. I've never been, oh, you can't, oh, you better. I've never been that. And I could have easily been that, but I'm not that. That's not who I am. That's not how I was raised. Mm-hmm. Absolutely not. So my thing is this. I'll treat you good. You know, you treat people the way you want to be treated. And sometimes men don't get it until later. Because I'm sure that there are men that are like, dang, I messed up. She was I'm sure, absolutely, no question. Don't try to come back now. No. Mm-mm. No. You grew? Okay, I'm glad for you. I've grown too. Away. So if I will do those things. I enjoy doing those things for men. For my family. I enjoy that. And the only thing that I will not tolerate is disrespect. And and if you try to come at me, you will get hurt. Because if I can outthink you, I can hurt you, and I'm pretty smart. So just let's keep it there.
And she got she got multiple cultures in her, so she'll cut you and bat you upside your head, all that. Lisa, bring that pain, baby. Let me tell you something. Everybody, right now, we just started. This is the second edition of Real Talk Dating. First it was Allison, now it's Lisa. Lisa
you
Ray,
said dating?
So any you eligible bachelors, you know, she's an eligible woman. She walked with a little limp, but she's still swagged out. So listen. I appreciate that.
I got great credit. I got cash.
Word.
And you just need to be able to you may have to carry me one day. That's what I'm just saying. You might have to be able to pick me up, but I'm not too heavy. You can handle it.
But you need Amir. I tell you need to come by the brunch too, because my brunch parties is off the chain now. So you might meet.
I'm working my way there. I just had so much going on the last couple of months, but I'm working my way there.
No, I get it, and you better do that. So let me ask you. I'm gonna come to Amir and Chuck, but I just want to read a comment. Tracy, shout out to Tracy Morton Gordon. She's always with the family. She's an RTC. She said, "Let's first understand the definition of masculinity, which refers to social roles, behaviors, and meanings prescribed for men in any given society at any one time. As such, it emphasizes gender, not biological sex, and the diversity of identities among different groups of men." Right? What's going on? Shout out to everybody chiming this with Real Talk Chronicles. I had a lovely panel. I got my panel. I got Lisa Ray. I got Amir Sealy. And I got my man Chuck. What's up, Liz? How are you? Shout out to everybody watching. We've been around the world today. Listen, we're going to finish out. We got 15 minutes. We're going to finish on this topic. But we started off talking about Roe v. versus Wade. What's your thoughts? Pro, not. We can bring it back up if you want to. You let us know what you want to talk about, but it's going to be a hot topic, and there's still people are protesting all over the world, countries, different cities. What's your feelings on it? Just, it's so many different avenues, and I think all 4 of us. We have 5. Mustafa, we ain't finished with you. Bring your ass back. I told you that. You know what I'm saying? Have different ideologies, and some may be on point, some may be a little off the beaten path. Please, if you like, watch it from YouTube, subscribe to it. If you watch it from Facebook, share it. Real Talk is sponsored by Melba Wilson, is sponsored by Leon Ellis, Soft Illusions, of course, Ingram Taxes, the Daily Arts of Survival Magazine, and Reggie Wells Quality Speakers. With that being said, Amir, Chuck, I'm gonna come with you, Amir, Chuck. Let me know what you're thinking. Lisa spilled a lot of tea on that, man. And it was real good tea. What's your thoughts on the whole masculinity, what she was saying about men, 2-family structure, things of that magnitude? I think, me just personally, and I apologize for just, jumping the line. that I had a mother and a father. I had a village. I will always say I had a village. My childhood friends' parents were fourth, fifth eyes all the time. You know, I couldn't curse, or I couldn't see Miss Ray or Miss Celia or Miss Richards walk down that street and not help them with their bags, or they see me out there cursing or calling somebody a bitch or something. What? Come here, and I had to come over there. And then next thing you know, before I get upstairs on a rotary, no less, they be like, "Yo, Miss Celia saw you, and you was cursing." You know what I'm saying? That's not happening anymore. People are smoking weed with their kids. You know what I'm saying? They come into the, and not that at our ages that we can't hang with our children. Let's please don't misconstrue what I'm saying. But we're talking about your child is 15 and 16, and you're doing that. Now we off the beaten path. Go ahead, Amir. And then Chuck, you follow up. Go ahead, please.
You brought up such a powerful point with that in particular. Yes, we do first and foremost need to get back to hopefully a two-family structure. A two-parent structure in the homes. I will say this: the only real caveat to that is, I think, to something else that I said or alluded to earlier, the dynamics of that are a little misconstrued only because of the way that they have changed the narrative for a lot of women in general, not only just in our community, but the whole energy and ideology behind being a boss, because that was for a nice stretch. That was the latest terminology. I'm a boss. And it's cool. Like, you should be in charge of things in your life. You should be in charge of your life. You should have businesses and all of these various things. But I think one of the misnomers about that is the energy that goes behind it, meaning the ideology and the thought that it's a manly thing. So when we started bolstering that and we started utilizing that as a focal point, and in particular, empowering the women in our lives and women in general, it changed the dynamics to something else that Lisa alluded to, she being the predominant breadwinner in the family. So now I make the decisions. I say what happens, what doesn't happen, certain other things that technically, again, should be discussed and or talked about so that we come to some real resolution. Because this is the situation, it makes me this or that. We're making decisions based off of what really works for what we're trying to achieve, not for the purposes of looking and having a thing so that our friends and the people who are looking from the outside go, okay, I see the dynamics of that. That makes it whatever. So I think that's something that we have to address. I think secondly, back to the whole, like I said, feminization thing, we just have a ways to go to getting back to being the mentors and being the people within the community that the men have an opportunity to look up to. My late father is no longer here with me. I lost him in 2014. I smile because I'm often approached by people who have been mentored by my father in different phases of their life. And, my father, like all fathers from that generation of that era, have had their good moments and their bad moments. And I just remember my pops, though, always keeping his head held high, always dressing extremely clean, and always in his guesstimation, making sure that if he shared something with somebody, with something to empower them and put them in a position to move forward. See, we have to get back to the basics. We've gotten duped into believing that doing certain things and carrying ourselves certain ways are the ways to influence and or to teach the next generation. I bring that into the conversation to Bill's point about his brunch. For those who haven't been, first of all, like I said, it's an incredible brunch, so please do yourself a favor and get by there. But I bring that really into the conversation, and Bill could allude to this. Chuck, I'm not sure if I've seen you there, but you got guys who are coming out looking like guys, looking like grown-ups, looking like adults. See, part of the issue that we have as a community is, I know for myself, when I was coming up, I looked up to the older guys in my community. So the guys who were a little bit older, my brothers, my friends' big brothers, those were the guys that I looked up to. Now, thankfully, I was in a headspace and still am to this day where I look at certain things and I go, that about this person I like, but that I don't like. So I'm not gonna do the things I don't like. I'm gonna emulate the things that I do like. And that's what's missing. There are too many people who are just emulating all of the stupid stuff and going, well, that's what we're doing now. No, that's not what we're doing now. And you should never say that. And please don't allow yourself to be influenced by what you see to the left or the right of you or in front or in back of you. Your job is to focus on you, and your job is to do what you're supposed to do so that you contribute to this beautiful place called the world in your own special way. But we got to get back to helping young people understand that. And that's a challenge and something that we're up against. And it's got to start in the home, as Chuck alluded to earlier, but it's also got to be done by us when we're out and about. So when gentlemen such as ourselves are out in these, walking the streets and doing certain things, we carry ourselves a certain way. Because I happen to know a lot of dudes who are in their 50s and you still want to, be the Jordan kid and the matching baseball. You're a grown man. I'm not saying that there aren't moments when you can and shouldn't do that, but you should have a fedora game. You should have a hard bottom shoe game. You should have a suit game. That's our problem. We still trying to emulate and be cool and be 20. You're not 20. As it's been said by the great Muhammad Ali, if you're still doing stuff in your 20s that you're doing in your 50s, that's 30 years that you wasted of your life.
Word.
We don't want to have real, I mean, this is real talk, but these are the conversations that we really need to have. What are we doing to show the next generation, this is how you evolve. This is how you get to where I am. This is one of the ways that you can utilize to do that.
Absolutely.
And it starts with taking the opportunity when the opportunities present themselves. Now, granted, I happen to know that Bill and Chuck in particular, you gentlemen, come from a law enforcement background. So it's a little bit different for y'all. But for the average person, sometimes you have no idea how many times I'm on the train and I want to really say something to some of these kids, but I got to think to myself, is this putting my life in jeopardy?
Yes.
And is it really that serious when it never used to be that way?
No.
To your point, Bill,
yeah.
Anybody used to be able to come talk to you and or try to straighten you out in some way, shape, or form, and it wasn't taken out of context by the parents who then jumped on you. Don't talk to my kid that way. You see your kid acting out of line. You haven't said anything the whole time.
Yeah,
you didn't say that one thing. So what was I supposed to do? Continue to deal with this behavior? Continue to let your kid kick me? Continue to let your kid stand or sit, stand in the chair, and you don't say anything? Why aren't you utilizing your parenting skills to go, hey, sit down. Let's carry yourself a certain way. This is how you do specific things. Because if you're not doing that, to your point, then it gets to the law enforcement space where now those gentlemen or men and women are now going to tell your child what to do. You want that? So there, again, a lot of variables, a lot of different things we need to do. But first and foremost, we have to do this, and that's start the conversation. And Bill, as always, I salute you, brother, for bringing this, to the forefront and allowing us to have a space and a platform where we can, hash out these ideologies and allow people to eventually at some point see this and go, you know what? I hadn't thought about that. I needed that, rebooting in my life. So I'll just leave it on that. And, Chuck, I'll allude to you, sir.
Chuck, I'm going to give it to you. Chuck, let me just read some comments. Shout out to my martial arts brothers, N.W. Lewis in the building. He said, I think the scholars should have provided more clarity in overturning Roe versus Wade and although states have control of this decision, this must also be for certain variables granted that would bring up certain questions. But this is where your voting abilities play a factor. Again, provided states do not steal that away too. Absolutely. Mark, he said, hey, mention Bill's name at Melba's. I came with 20. There's no doubt she supports the general. Thank you, Bill. Whoa, glad to hear that. Appreciate that.
Awesome.
Mark, Reggie Bullock said, women make a lot more today than they did 50 years ago. Does this change the dynamics? My mother and father were both city workers and made the same amount of money. Is that a factor? Just asking. Chuck, I'll let you answer that on your thought process. Stefania and Colin are having conversation. That's good. I employ all of you to go back later on in your leisure time and converse with everybody. That's the beautiful thing about when you're doing it from Facebook or YouTube. You can go back and check. Michelle said, Bill Force, I believe if we walk to somebody and I don't know who, to get that sort of mentoring back these days, these kids, so-called grown-ups would maybe listen. If only it only takes one, maybe two, but something has to change. I have a son that doesn't like his hands and wants to use them on me. Whoa. Why? Because he sees no man in my life. So what do we do with the narcissistic people in our life? Because we can't hit them, you can't scold them, nor can we put them out in the street. So what becomes of me? Wow.
That's another show.
Yeah. Lewis said, no self-discipline leads to imposed discipline. Roscoe said, I like grown ass man, Amir. Exactly. Christian Johnson said, absolutely correct, Amir. Stefania said, Reggie Book, absolutely. I can speak to the older generation, but the Generation Zs are not dating men that make less than them, and they want men that make a large sum of money, 1,000 a year. Mark Rose said, Amir, excellent points, but some of our women have gotten the memo on G strings. What's up, Wayne Frierson, my man? Chuck, what's your thoughts, man? Comments or anything that you had finishes, baby? It's all you.
All I can say is that I applaud everybody on the panel. They pretty much laid everything out as it is. I mean, we all have to get back to fundamentals. We have to get back to being able to be responsible, and it has to come back to the household. And if there's a single parent and she needs assistance, especially if she got brothers, the brothers, her brothers got to step up. They got every now and then drop in. I'm telling you right now. Let's say you have 3 brothers and one of them happens to be someone who unfortunately gets into trouble all the time. It doesn't mean that boy shouldn't interact with that particular uncle, because he's going to give him an insight to the shit that he shouldn't be doing. Don't do what I do because it got me where I'm at. And so just to say that, I got to keep him away from that uncle because he's the bad one. No. If you're going to give your son or your child the overall, I would say, a well-rounded exposure for them to understand what they are stepping into, you can't sugarcoat and keep them away from things that are bad, right? Yin yang, right? You have to have good and it has to be bad. That's how they balance, because one has to be able to defeat the other. And you don't know the values that you have or how strong your values are unless they're tested, right? We can't get a college degree or a high school diploma unless we take tests. So life in itself is always going to be tests. And if you have male figures in your family, regardless of what the dynamic is, and they've all been tested, then that boy should know about their testimonies. They should tell him and explain to him what they've done and to be a part of his learning experience. And girls as well, and we also have to stop this culture of making words gender specific. Oh, if a woman is aggressive, she's being a man. If she's assertive, she's being a woman. See, that's bullshit. All right. We start putting these labels on words and saying very clearly that, if she's acting aggressive, you acting like a man. No, she's not acting. She's being. And why does it have to be about that? Because that particular word has to be gender specific about a male quality. No, we have to get out of that. And we have to start to support each other as living beings, as two people that are trying to share space. And the overall objective is the betterment of our neighborhood, our culture, and for the betterment of these children. And you're right. Sometimes you may be a little apprehensive trying to talk to some of these young cats because they got attitude. And once again, I don't want to take it away from the parents, but that starts in that household. There is something that's going on in that household that gives them the poetic license to be condescending, to be nasty, to be unapproachable, to put them in that space where they feel that they're ruling the world. And somewhere, somehow, we have to figure out a way, despite whatever the laws may say, you can't discipline your child. They got ACS on speed dial and all. We got to figure out some way to be able to address that issue. And it's not going to be just within the household. It has to be a community issue. It has to be everyone who's a part of that community. It has to be a village, because that's how I was raised. And like Bill, I think I'm 58, right? So I remember if I did something that was crazy and my mom or my pop wasn't around, I'm sorry, Mr. McGill would cut you across the street, or Mr. Gatlin was. He says, "What? No, wait till your father. I'm gonna tell him what you did. Ah, man. So I had uncles and aunts at every freaking corner. It was
Yeah,
no room for
Absolutely.
error. And even if in fact I did do something, guess what? I had enough respect that Mr. Gaskin would pull me aside and say, "Son, why are you doing that? Let me tell you what happens when you do shit like that." And
yeah,
it would break it down to me to a point where, guess what? I would understand it, and it would be in a corrective measure. It wasn't a criticism. It was a loving way of making me understand that that path was the wrong path. And somehow we have to get back to that. And how we do it, and we got to take baby steps, but we all collectively have to. It has to be from the household first. It has to be the neighborhood. It has to be the community. And you guys also, we have to stop letting babies having babies too, because some of these
yeah.
some of these kids are just they're having kids and they're not even mature enough to have children,
Yeah.
and it's messed up. But I know that it's something that if we really put our minds together in a concerted effort, we can find a way of making this work, and we can kind of get back to the fundamentals of what a family, what a community is supposed to look like.
It's so funny. I think this starts the battle. This is why we do Real Talk. This is why I ask people like yourselves to be a part of it whenever you can. Um, of course, you're always welcome back in any segment. All you got to do is text me and be like, I want to get in. Amir, you've definitely done that. Chuck, you're a part of it. Lisa, you've been here, of course, multiple times. But you're always welcome back because I first and foremost, I appreciate everybody that's listening and watching us. I know, and I appreciate all the comments. And I apologize if I didn't get a chance to read all of the comments because the bottom line is when you have certain conversations, you get hectic, and you trying to read and stay on ear hustle and read, and it gets a little good. I think I'm pretty good at it, but I'm not great at it. No, I'm good at it. Let me just stop lying. No, but the thing is, I just still want to be engaged into the conversation that we're having. Listen, this is part of the battle. We that care are caught between a rock and a hard place with how do we save those out there that don't really seem like they care. I ask you all to go back and comment and question. Maybe we could all try to help Michelle. She said, she says, I have nobody, just me and myself. I've done everything that's legal, and it seems like it's taking him forever to get out the house. All I want is a piece of life. I mean, maybe at least we could just give us some ears. Also, Roscoe said, Mark said, well, appreciate the show, brother. Keep the foot on the pedal. Absolutely. Thank you. Roscoe said, Bill Forster, thank you for the weekly grown people's conversation. It's refreshing. Keep up the great platform. Thank you. For people that give me these accolades along with these individuals, I will always stay. And of course, with my Bonnie and Clyde back here, she got my back. Lewis said, the value of life is the vision of the good, the bad, and the ugly, and how to still be productive in our community. Wow. Yep, absolutely. Michelle, well, we're about to get off right now. So maybe one day we'll have to sidebar and have some kind of conversations. Everybody, this is Real Talk Chronicles.
Yeah.
I'm your host, Bill Forster, with my co-host, Chuck Richards, with my special co-host panel, Amir Sealy and Lisa Ray. That's my beautiful wife, Lisa, in the back. Anybody you want to talk about what they're doing? Of course, I got the huh? Oh, I said Malika in the back. I'm sorry. I'm all over the place. Of course, the brunch party, July 16th. I got DJ Cozy. I got Mr. C on the set. I am doing also a fish reunion collab with that. But of course, it's assorted flavors and yours truly. And I'm the host, and Malika is the first lady of the game. So come out, show some love. Listen, any topics? Well, a lot of you already inbox me, text me topics and conversations. But if there's something that you want to talk to Chuck, Amir, and Lisa about, and you want to bring back to this table, let us know. We can start this up for the summer hours. For the summer shows, we only doing an hour. But this tonight, I knew we was going 2 hours, and good. We did it. We did 2 hours on the dot because we started at 2:03, and we started at 7:03, and it's 9:03. So thank you all. I appreciate you. Share it.
Thank you.
Subscribe to it. Hold on, y'all. We're gonna go in the green room and chop it up for a minute. We're just gonna go in the green room. Good night, everybody. See you.
Good night.
We'll see you Monday. Oh, and congratulations to Assemblyman Al Taylor for winning. So he's still my assemblyman, so he can come back. He won't just come back as Reverend Al Taylor. He'll be back as Assemblyman Al Taylor. Shout out to Al Taylor, everybody. All right, see you in a minute.